Hey, everybody, it is Steve Fretzin, and I am so happy that you're with us. This show is just cranking out the hits between the podcast and the new book, Be That Lawyer 101 Top Rainmaker Secrets to Growing a Successful Law Practice. We are helping lawyers all over the world to, yes, you guessed it, be that lawyer, confident, organized, and a skilled rainmaker. And today is no different. I've got Shireen waiting in the wings. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm so happy that you're here. And we were introduced by Ariana Tadler. So we'll shout out to Ariana.
Yes, thank you, Ariana. Always has a great intro.
Oh my God, she's the best. She's my favorite person. She's competing in the top favorite persons, people of Steve Fretzen's life, I guess. But she's just fantastic. And I have to travel to New York to visit her at some point soon. I'm not committing to
Sure.
that on the spot, but I'm saying that would be a good move for me.
And when you do, please call me because I'm here too.
All
So
right. Well, listen, I'm gonna have to make a whole run of it is what I think is gonna happen.
I have to do a
Um,
whole road show.
yeah, don't have a choice. Don't have a choice. All right, everybody, you know how this game is played. We are going to start with our wonderful quote of the show. And Shireen, I love the one that you sent me. I want to ask you about it in a second. And it is, if you want an unfair advantage, you'll have to do something different than everyone else. Do you know who said that, or is that yours?
I won't claim credit, but I do not have anyone to attribute it to. So it's
Okay.
probably something I picked up over time or through somebody, and it just happened to stick with me.
Yeah. So tell us about it. Why is that? Why do you love? I have got a feeling about it, but I'd love to hear your take.
Yeah, I have found and look, I advise law firms the way you do, different than you do, but we're both looking at the same folks in terms of how to help them. And one thing that I think everyone is always thinking about, and I don't blame them, we all wonder, what's everyone else doing? And the problem with obsessing about your competition instead of your clients is if you do, you are almost by definition falling in the middle.
Hmm.
So the better way to get ahead, I think, is to be client obsessed. And so ask yourself, let's say you're thinking of opening up a new practice area, and you're the managing partner, or investing in a particular new type of service offering or delivery method. Ask the clients first, do you need it? Is
Yeah.
this what you want? Where's your business going in the next 24 to 36 months? And then back into that, how does our firm grow to meet the demand that's in the market, as opposed to what a lot of firms do, which is, oh, well, if they're opening up a Houston office, do I need to open up a Houston office? If they have this practice area, do I need to have that practice area?
Yeah. It's not about being the same, right? It's about being different and not, whether it's the difference in how you're providing the service, it's different in how you're putting out your true authentic self. Something that's going to stand out from the crowd. I think that's sort of the name of the game today because we're all getting lost in this social media, melee of content. It's hard to sort of stand out.
It sure is. It's a crowded market and saying the same things as everyone else and having the exact same services is just, like I said, a race to mediocrity, I think.
Yeah. Really great. Well, I appreciate you sharing that. And do us a favor. I'm going to ask you. So, Shireen Hilal, everybody, is the CEO of Mayor Strategic Consulting. I knew I was going to screw that up. All right. Mayor Strategic Consulting LLC. Please give us your background and tell us how you came to be.
Yeah, sure. So my firm, Mayor, is a consultancy that's built for law firms that refuse to settle for good enough. And so we help firms move past their pain points and plateaus by increasing revenue and profitability, sharpening operations, and building smarter growth strategies. And what sets us apart is execution. Most consultancies will deliver their strategy and walk away. And instead, we build practical, tailored solutions and embed with the teams to make them real. And so every engagement is grounded in how each firm actually functions, and we stay involved and refine and iterate for continued and compounding results. And the way I got here, I founded Mayor after a decade as an AmLaw 50 litigator. And then that was followed by executive leadership roles across law, consulting, and communications. So I was the COO of a national law firm where I am proud to say we increased revenue by over 20% and partners partner profit by over 30%. And we also got in the best places to work list in our key markets. And also had the opportunity to lead operations and strategy for $1 billion division of KPMG, drove change management for BDO, and launched the first structured go-to-market program at a mature communications firm. So I kind of glommed all of that together to now service the boutique and mid-size law firm market.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to ask you a question, and the problem with the question and the problem with your answer is the world is changing so fast. So let's say that we tape this at one point, then a month later this comes out, and the whole world could be different. But right now we're sitting at the beginning of May. The world is changing every single day. Are there some thoughts about what you're seeing in legal? I mean, obviously there's pressure on the big law. I saw something about they're demanding the top 10 that everybody come back to work full time, 4 days a week in office. Like there's all these changes happening. How are you kind of seeing this all play out? Like, what's your take?
It's a good question. There's a lot of competing pressures. So you just listed one that I think is an important one, which is workforce engagement, right? And in professional services in general, law or otherwise, an engaged workforce isn't really optional. I mean, your people are the product. And so thinking about how you build culture and thinking through doing it in a way that isn't just reliant on physical presence, but having real structures and systems that support your people, and also thinking about, culture has cult in it. So what are you doing to create real buy-in and believers? I think that's an issue, and part of it might be solved by getting people back in the office. I would say I think that that's a band-aid solution, and as my answer sort of already probably presupposed, I think there's real structure that needs to come in if you want lasting results there. The other thing that I think everyone's seeing is budgets have gotten tighter, and there's been a lot of talk for decades about, the death of the billable hour, or, firms have to show their value. But I only think in the last few years was the corporate market actually in a position to push back the way that they have. And so we're actually starting to see that get put in motion. And so, first of all, there has never been a better time to be a mid-sized law firm. I think you're seeing a lot of the corporate market in particular realizing that you can get the same talent at a better valued price and with better personalized service. And you aren't really moving down market because a lot of those folks came from AmLaw 50 or AmLaw 200. So I
Yep.
think that's another piece of it.
Yep.
At the same time, where you're seeing the squeeze, revenues are flatter, but the labor cost has not gone down. And in fact, it's going up. And so that's a margin squeeze. So things that I'm hearing the most from firms that I'm advising: how do we stand out in a crowded market and increase our footprint, especially given tighter budgets? How do we get bigger share of that wallet? What can we do to push more to the bottom line and ensure profits for partner are robust and continue to grow without doing things that are short term and sort of cannibalizing our long-term future? And of course, how do we engage our workforce? And at the same time, what can we do to better engage our clients? Because I think the other thing they're realizing is clients are also feeling remote now.
Yeah. I was funny. So I was talking to one of my clients, Jeff, if you're listening, this is you. And ultimately, I was like, now is the time to go after the companies that have been paying exorbitant fees to the big firms because, they're tightening up their budgets. And but he's like, well, we've always done that. I'm like, you've always done it, but it's the timing of it. The timing is now. The timing wasn't a year ago. So I think I don't know if that clicked with him or not. He kind of pushed back, but that's part of any lawyer's job, right? Is to push back on everything. But ultimately, I get what you're saying, and I think The other one that I would add to your list is, look, if clients are holding on to their money and they're not going to do the same amount of matters and deals and pay the same fees they've always been paying because things are tight, we've got to adjust to that. And so the pie is getting a little smaller, and you have to step up the marketing, the business development. So when your clients ask you about how do we get a bigger footprint or how do we get more, basically like piece of the pie, I think that's where leaning into business development, marketing, client development, or even just client engagement and loyalty all plays a factor.
I think that's right. And the other piece that to me is interesting, and you deal with this a lot, part of it's in the pitch, right? And so, how are you making this a layup for in-house counsel to take this to the rest of the C-suite and not be seen as a cost center? And so I have told my clients, think about how you walk into that pitch with one slide that has bullets that if they were to walk into their C-suite, the GC or head of lit or whoever you're dealing with, it is actually tied to their business outcomes and needs. And so that may be, look, we're looking to hopefully have a sale in 5 years. This is going to increase the value of the company because of A, B, and C. This is going to mitigate the risk and take that off of our books and increase our acquisition price. And here's how and why. Or, think about what you're doing that brings real company and shareholder value, because ultimately, helping your client to sell it internally is sort of part of, I think, the pitch.
But it sounds like, too, for lawyers who have existing clientele that may be hit up by other lawyers or maybe, targeted now because of the current economy, that you've got to, as a lawyer, do more than maybe ever before for your clients, and how you're protecting the relationship, protecting their business, and making sure that they stay with you and loyal to you for the long haul through a difficult time. And what are some things that you're suggesting to your clients to accomplish that?
Yeah, to sort of keep that trust and stay close and tight with your clients. I would
Yeah.
there's a few programs I've put in place at firms. And so one, for example, is, if you have go practice by practice and think through, I'll give you an example. Let's say I have a real estate practice at my firm and we do closings all the time. This is a very simple example, right? I should know if I've done 500 closings in the last, I don't know, 6 months or a year, what are the 5 to 7 questions that I know every client or 80% of my clients end up asking? You know what? Package that into a bit of an FAQ and have that be part of the intake call or your kickoff call. Or what are the 3 times that the clients are getting a little itchy and they're going to want an update? Get ahead of it and give that. So part of it is stay ahead on communication and anticipate their needs. The next one I think that's a big one is, and I see this a lot, bad billing hygiene. And so if your time entry does not reinforce the value of your work, of course they're not going to want to pay.
Mhm.
And so, like, easy example, if I write review documents, I mean, who cares? But if I reviewed the third party agreement to identify the risks tied to X issue, now I'm showing judgment and I'm making an impact, right? And so ask yourself when you send out the bill, does this tell a story
Mm.
of value and progress? I would say the other one, and now kind of step back in time before the bills go out, are you even aligned on scope and budget? A lot of firms assume that everything is clear, and it's not. You have to talk about budget and scope. And if you're billing hourly, you have to talk about timekeeping too. What are you billing for? What do you not bill for? Whose names are they going to see on the bill? And this is also where you need to do a gut check. Are the fees that we're going to charge proportionate to the value that the client is getting? I think there's a lot of firms that assume, well, they know our hourly rate and they know we're expensive. So now why are they complaining when they get the bill? Because this is a tiny litigation matter and the juice just isn't worth the squeeze anymore. And so when you're the expert, it's sort of on you to make sure you're unpacking that.
Mm.
And then I would say too, one of the most passive aggressive things I've seen, and we've talked about this as friends, mishandling fee increases. And so, most firms treat year-end pricing changes like a compliance task. It's a generic letter sent from finance where you hope the client doesn't reply. Um, that just feels awfully sneaky and
Hmm.
not the way to grow a relationship. Say clearly, here's what you're paying now, and here's how it compares. Here's the value you're going to receive, and here's my vision for the relationship. Good messaging reflects context, value, and care. A bad one is robotic, vague, and oblivious to the fact that there's a human being on the other side. So, those are some of the things that you can think of in terms of just cleaning up from all the way from intake to sending out the bill. How am I treating my client? And am I sure I'm delivering and they're seeing the value?
Hey, everybody, I know you're enjoying this interview. To hear more just like this, check out all of the podcasts on our website. Link is in the description below. Yeah, I love all of that, and it's just little things that add up to, you know, problems. And again, the statistic, I don't know if it's changed, but 6 times more time, money, energy to get a new client than to keep an existing one. And what are you doing to, to sort of put a little insurance down on that relationship? I would add to what you said that, and this is more kind of more in my lane, what questions are you asking your clients that demonstrates care and understanding, empathy, and an interest in their well-being? What else can I do for you to help you during these tough times? What other resources do you need? Oh, well, my VP of sales just quit and we're dying right now because we don't have someone. Let me, you have a resume, or I mean, you have a job description. Let me, you're not committing or promising to fill that spot, but you can leverage your network to make an effort to demonstrate to them that you care and that you're making an effort. I would also ask questions about what other challenges they're having. So I'm in IP and I'm asking about challenges they're having, and they talk about employment and litigation and their firm sucks and whatever. Well, my firm does all that, but I never ask those questions. Give me a break. I mean, this could be a possible win-win-win all around. You win origination, the client wins a better level of service for employment, and you're bringing in the work for one of your partners who's going to enjoy working with this great client.
Yeah, I think what's interesting about that is you're talking about cross-selling, and I think all firms sort of get wound up around how do we do it better, but the truth
Mm-hmm.
it comes down to empathy, right? It's just, do I care and understand this client? One trick I've put in place at a couple firms to sort of really dig deeper into both empathy and hopefully the result, right? Cross-selling is if this is helpful to any of your listeners, I'll have the partners go to their longstanding clients and say, listen, you're a great client, and my managing partner has asked that each of us partners go to our favorite client and give a complimentary strategy session. I want to invite you to the firm. We're going to have a nice lunch. I'm going to bring so and so from tax, so and so from labor and employment. I mean, whoever the right,
Mm-hmm.
depending on what this person's business and what they may actually be facing would be. And it is truly a complimentary, we're just here to listen and ideate and solution with you. But what you're actually getting out of this is you're kind of getting to soft pitch your client on here's the other ways you can use us.
Yeah. It's a little bit of an evil genius play you just made there, by the way. Just putting that out there.
Well, that's my specialty.
I see you with your cauldron, you're stirring the pot a little.
Always.
Asking questions that go outside of your area, that's one element. And getting them into your firm for lunch and to meet your partners. I mean, come on, that's next level stuff. How many lawyers out of 100 are actually doing anything like that? It might be one or two. And it's
Well, and
probably, yeah.
I think what makes it hard is they feel like they're selling, so they don't want to do it. So if instead you flip it to how do I give you something for free?
Mhm.
Which, by the way, they really should receive some value out of that. Otherwise, you're not running that strategy session well. Why should you feel bad about that?
Yeah. It shouldn't be a pitch, right? I mean, it should
Hey,
be
not a pitch.
right. It should be 90%, them talking and you asking questions and empathy and demonstrating that you care. And then is it possible that things are going to come out of that meeting that lead to additional matters and additional opportunities? I think so. I think so.
I
There's always stuff hidden
think
under the table.
Yeah, and at the least, what if your client just feels like you're a great partner to them?
Yeah. Yeah. That worst case scenario, right?
Yeah, isn't that a great bad result?
It's a terrible result that I love. Yes. Great stuff. So let's continue on this path though, because I think if we look at all of the different areas of business development where lawyers stink, cross marketing is definitely at the top. So I think we're already getting into some good ground here. But I talk about two kinds of cross marketing. The one you're talking about is I have the client, I'm going to bring that client into the firm, or I'm going to try to, cross sell this. The one that's done less than that, right, is the other side where I'm going to, as a lawyer looking to get more business, looking to develop more business, to lean into my partners who have the clients. They've never talked about, I'm a tax guy. They've never talked about tax with any of their clients. We've got this incredible tax department and lawyer in me, in this made up scenario, that has not been brought to light. So can you talk about that as another side of it?
Yeah, so I've done a lot of cross-sell programs and upsell programs at firms, and you always have to do it. I mean, here's my caveat, right? That it depends, lawyer caveat, that and it does, right? It depends on your firm's culture and how these practices mesh together and whether there's industry focus and things like that. But I do think building things like an actual industry group where you have partners who meet together and senior associates, et cetera, and actually talk about what's happening in the industry and what they're seeing and how they're changing things for their clients for the better, that naturally leads itself better to those conversations. But some of it too, you can be more programmatic. And so something I put in at one firm was like internal expert briefings. And so the way this went was every quarter, each practice group had a partner present what's changing in their world and they had 5 minutes, right? This is your 5 minute presentation during our all partner call. And it was here's the highlights of what's going on this quarter and the exciting things and the nuance in our practice area. So then at the end of the call, what we asked is for all partners to think through. Now you just heard these great updates. What clients do you have that could benefit from a quick 30-minute VIP session? So again, let's be a little sneaky. Let's offer my partners in tax, to use your example, have seen a lot of developments in your industry. I would love to get you on for a 15-minute update from them, one-on-one, where you can ask them a couple of questions too.
Yeah.
Clients love that.
Mm.
Now giving them a VIP mini briefing just for them where they don't have to sort of air the dirty laundry in front of anybody else on a WebEx, right? And this is how you get small connections made and you build trust across the firm. And every partner kind of is thought through, oh, I now see the aha moments.
Mm.
Yes, my client needs that. Yes, my client would benefit from 15 minutes here or there. The other thing you can do, and this is a little bit, I don't know, maybe depends on, again, the culture of your firm, but make a services playbook. So every practice gets one page only where you make it super easy for everyone to understand what you do. Plain language. What problem do we solve? Who's it for? What are the signs clients might need us?
Yeah.
Or maybe it's even 2 to 3 minute videos showing that service in action.
Wow.
Like, be clear, not clever, right? But just do things that educate others because everyone's so busy. I don't think for lack of caring, it's just you're trying to get done what's in front of you.
Yeah. And by the way, just as an aside, if you're a solo or you're in a boutique firm that does one thing, you should be replacing the law firm culture and the different practice areas with your strategic partners, with the other lawyers that you align with. How can you get them into your clients? How can they get you into their clients? Like it's not ultimately that different. The thing I wanted to share, just to add on to what you said, is the culture has to be there, yes. And I think the other thing is you need to develop the relationships in your internally at your firm where you like the person a great deal and know that they are a great lawyer and are responsive. Because I can't tell you how many people get turned off by cross marketing because I referred a partner and he screwed up the whole thing, or he blew the client, or like, some way that, just like destroyed the relationship, or didn't do the work, or didn't call. Like, you got to make sure that you step up and really qualify the partners at your firm. They're not all created equal, correct?
I think that's right. And that kind of, you reminded me of another little tip. So, most firms leave, frankly, and you know this as well as I do, most of their entire revenue cycle to chance, right? They assume that everyone's going to figure it out, whether from business development to staffing the matter to collections, and you just hope that your team is going to get it right by winging it. But everybody is busy and weary, and structure helps. And so one example of structure, in addition to things like we got to talk about scope and budget, is define what a client relationship partner means at your firm. Most firms don't. And so get together your best rainmakers in one room and ask, what do you actually do to keep your clients close? Document it, operationalize it, because if you want others to manage relationships well and partners to have trust, that to your point, if I introduce my client to Steve, Steve is going to treat Anne with the same respect and depth that I would. There has to be some standard out there for this is what it actually means when you originate a matter. Here's what
Yeah.
we expect out of you as a firm.
Yeah. And since you teed it up so well, I'd be remiss not to mention Be That Lawyer,
Oh,
101 Top Rainmaker Secrets to Growing a Successful Law Practice. So leadership, culture, business development, marketing, it's all in here. Peace of mind. How do you keep a good mindset? So, what can you learn from the Rainmakers? Thank you for teeing that up for me. Let's take a
no
moment
problem.
to let's wrap it up with a new segment. This is, I think, you're a third victim, person that we're asking this question to. What's Shireen's big mistake?
It's a good one. I have so many.
Don't we all? That's a sad
I
thing. Can
know,
only
right?
pick one? Can I only have
I'm
to
like,
pick
can
one?
I talk about the only good thing I've done, if anything? No, you're right. It's a good thing to talk about. I would say for me, I spent a lot of my career trying to figure out how to continue navigating on the path that was built for me. And so whether that's, I spent my first 10 years in AmLaw 50 firms, and it's very lockstep and rigid, and you make exactly this salary and you hit your billables and you get the bonus or you don't, and you only move up one class year a year, and it's very regimented, all the way through to going into the corporate world or more enterprise firms like a KPMG where I ran a 5,000 person division, or even other enterprise firms. I always, when someone else has built the path, it's you've got to figure out how you stay on it to continue progressing. And so for me, I think it was finally figuring out I had to build my own firm if I really wanted to do it my own way. And
Hmm.
that means you got to machete your way through the jungle and build your own path.
Yeah. Well, I just like to hear not people struggle for the purpose of me hearing people struggle, but it's like, we have to struggle. We have to have obstacles. There's no purpose to life if there aren't obstacles, if there isn't hardship. Like, how do we get anywhere in this world without having to accomplish things? That's like life 101. So I appreciate you being open to sharing. Let's wrap up and thank our sponsors. Of course, the Law Her podcast with Sonia Palmer, crushing it for women. Might be a good intro for you, by the. Do you know Sonia Palmer?
I don't. I would
Oh,
love an intro.
yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
I'll talk to her about you.
I appreciate
Of course, we got PIMCon coming up. If you're a personal injury attorney and you want to go to the most elegant, wonderful, positive conference of the year, that's the one to go to in October. And of course, I plug my book, Be That Lawyer, 101 Top Rainmaker Secrets. Grab a copy on Amazon. We're a bestseller, and it's helping lawyers all over the world to be that lawyer, confident, organized, and a skilled rainmaker. Shireen, if people want to reach out to you, I mean, by the way, just as an aside before we wrap up, amazing job. Like so many well thought out and helpful tips. It wasn't just the 20,000 foot view. You really got into the weeds and knocked out 4, 5, 6 really important topics, maybe more than that. I'll have to go back and do some math. But really, really great. So how do people get in touch with you? They want to bring you into their firm, or they just want to learn more about you?
Sure. Well, I do thank you first. I try to stay very tactical and practical because otherwise, what's the point really?
Yeah.
You can find me on my website. It's Maior Consultants with an S.com. Maior is Maior. You can also find me on LinkedIn, Shireen Hilal. And I also write a quarterly column for Law 360. It's like a Dear Abby for law firm leaders. And so I will say, if anyone ever has a topic that they want me to address, I deal with a new burning question each quarter. The next one I'm going to do is on how do you price better? Because I hear that question a lot, but I've tackled everything from remote work and culture to profitability and everything else. So it may be of interest.
Yeah, it certainly should be. And appreciate you coming on the show, sharing your wisdom. Shout out again to Ariana Tadler for the great introduction. And just thank you so much. This is, I knew when we met initially, this was going to be a great collaboration, and you did not disappoint.
Me too. And thank you so much for hosting me.
Yeah, my pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out with Shireen and I for the last 30 plus minutes. We are here for your listening and viewing pleasure. Of course, you can check us out on Amazon for the new book. You can check us out on YouTube. Don't be afraid to tell your friends about Be That Lawyer and give us a nice review on your phone when you get done with this episode. All great stuff to help you be that lawyer, confident, organized, and a skilled rainmaker. Take care, everybody. Be safe, be well. We will talk again soon. If you want to check out more about what Fretzin does every day to help you be that lawyer, confident, organized, and a skilled rainmaker, please check out our services page on our website. Just go to the website, check it out. I know you'll enjoy it. Thanks.